TIL about a federal lawsuit filed against Walmart concerning a stainless steel travel mug bought there. After mango juice had been in the mug for around 10 days, in which fermentation happened, a woman removed the top. It propelled into her face, causing jaw injuries. An interesting take that I haven't seen here is what the instructions on the Mucha Mango bottle were. Is there instruction to refrigerate after opening? By the sound of things, the suit alleges there was no warning information on the bottle packaging which could have prevented the injury. If the plaintiff ignored package instructions on the juice to refrigerate or not, that too would have prevented such an injury according to the logic and specifics of this case. You can't pick and choose which warnings to adhere to and then sue the Fortune 500 company after you're hurt. Hearing cases like this always remind me of the McDonald's coffee lady, which became the poster child for frivolous lawsuits despite the fact that the coffee was heated by McDonald's to a ridiculous temperature capable of causing third-degree burns, and they were warned many times. So obviously the lady is partly to blame for letting mango juice ferment. But I'm curious if the overpressure created was an extreme case or if reasonable usage can cause this type of dangerous failure. Because I'm seeing empty soda bottles forgotten in my car pop their cap on summer days. Case dismissed with prejudice. See attorney here. That's because it was so stupid that plaintiff's counsel moved to dismiss before they had to pay attorney's fees to the other side. Just because you can file suit doesn't mean you should. In layman's terms, an idiot foolish enough to leave a beverage for 10 days is even more of an idiot to think a jury or a judge will rule in their favor. BTW, I almost always represent plaintiffs. Surprisingly, I agree that this is negligence on Walmart's part. Of course the woman was negligent as well. But the point is she is suing because there could be a high chance of injury if pressure builds up in that bottle for any reason. And without a pressure release valve, you essentially have a pressure cooker bomb. It says she had major damage to her mouth and jaw. I'm curious about the extent, but that amount of force is pretty crazy for a water bottle. I bought a bottle of kombucha a few years back. I drank maybe 3/4 of the bottle, and capped it and left it on the floor next to my desk. A couple of days later, the bottle actually exploded, glass everywhere. I was there at the time, but luckily wasn't hurt. I never expected that. I never realized the fermentation could produce such pressure that it would actually exceed the tolerance of the bottle. I'd have expected the cap to fail before that. Italian here. It's common enough to bottle your own wine. We usually lose a few bottles every year in this way. Maybe there's an heat wave, the wine has been bottled too early, or the bottles that have been used are too thin. I've never thought it could be dangerous. When the batch is ready, temperatures have calmed down and the fermentation is over. So if a bottle was not strong enough, it would have exploded already. I left coffee in a Stanley thermos for about a month. I sealed it at around 0 feet above sea level. However, I began to open it at about 7,057 feet at Donner Pass in California. The green stopper popped me in the nose, and old curdled cream and coffee shot all over the inside of my vehicle. I didn't blame a Stanley, I blamed myself. I was the idiot. I am still the idiot. I once tried to clean the reservoir of a humidifier with vinegar and baking soda. Put the lid on and shook it up vigorously. Which was a total dumbass thing to do, because the thing exploded violently in my face and caused lacerations as well as some temporary hearing loss. However, I didn't sue the manufacturer because I was ultimately injured by science, nature and my own stupidity. This is how the United States became a worldwide joke. Lack of accountability and common sense. It's sad that I, a natural-born US citizen, recognizes that this should have never come close to be a consideration of a judiciary-reviewed case. This is further proof that socialism is sadly in our future, as people look to the elected and appointed officials to think for them. Walmart is guilty of a ton of things. But this is stupid. They can't be responsible for every random occurrence with products. Why didn't they warn me about chemistry? They should have had a giant label warning me not to leave mango juice in it for over a week. I also can't imagine blaming anyone but myself in misfortune. In fact, it would have been amusing. I left a par fruit smoothie in a metal insulated screw cap bottle for like 2 weeks before realizing. I had the forethought to recognize a vessel would be pressurized, but wanted to use the bottle. So I filled up my kitchen sink with water to absorb some of the energy. The damn thing nearly emptied the whole sink when it opened, like an underwater mine. It was nuts. So, the travel mugs are supposed to be airtight. Which, if I understand chemistry somewhat correctly, fermentation releases gases and increases the pressure in the mug. The top propelling like that, means the mug did exactly its job. So she sued for having a good product. When I was younger, I couldn't help but notice Dr. Pepper bottles specifically say to point away from face when opening and wondering if it was because of a silly lawsuit like this. Also, Jack in the Box's warning on coffee cups warning hot coffee is hot. So, if I pressurize a Walmart mug to the point where it damages is obviously Walmart's fault? I want my youth back. I don't remember any of this nonsense back then. Sure, we had different nonsense back then. But it was better nonsense than this. All these people saying it's their fault are ignoring the fact that in order for the product to become a bomb all it needs is ignorance. Please give me an example of another common product that can do the same thing without consequences to the manufacturer. My first thought was, how does this compare to the McDonald's coffee case, but after reading the article this sounds like a freak accident. Folks, you're misunderstanding me. I know McDonald's was at fault in the coffee case, I never said they weren't. What's with stupidity being rewarded these days? The amount of lawsuits I've seen where the idiot actually won just gets to me. Natural selection used to result in stronger genetics, now it results in a check and a round of applause. What exactly is massive damage? Because to me that means their head came off, which it probably did not, but they completely skip over the extent of their injuries. BTW. Has NASA looked into fermented fruit juice rockets? It looks like Ms. Horde probably got an undisclosed settlement. She filed for dismissal with prejudice in February of this year 2023. I have some stainless travel mugs in a forgotten container with coffee and cream spewed when I pressed the valve. I was wise enough to point it into the sink first and knew better than to unscrew the lid. How would this be a Walmart issue? It is absolutely her fault. But even if she was just looking for a frivolous lawsuit to get rich quick, wouldn't it be better to go after the mango juice manufacturer? It saddens me that we are this litigious. Stupidity should not be rewarded or even attempted to reward. It should be laughed at as a learning experience. Idiocracy is so close I can smell the Starbucks. The reason this happened is because when yeast ferment the sugar in the fruit drink, they convert it into alcohol and carbon dioxide. The gas built up pressure inside the bottle, and the top exploded. Next, she'll sue soda companies because she dropped a 20 ounces bottle then opened it, and it sprayed carbonated beverage at high velocity into her eyes, causing temporary blindness and emotional trauma. Ozark Trail micro-kettled, wild fermented mango sour. A vibrant yeast strain with an aggressive attenuation results in bold punch-you-in-the-face flavor. I gotta stop reading Untapped descriptions. Literally just did this with an empty thermos. Left it in my backpack after work. Worked from home for a few days, then went on a few-day trip. This has to be incredibly common. Did you look to see if this ever went anywhere? Sounds like to me it's just another scumbag attorney looking for a settlement. I'd be surprised if they actually went to court. And why is this Walmart's fault? It's nobody's fault, not even the lady who opened it. It's just a freak accident. I despise Walmart, but I'm gonna be pissed if this woman wins. We should be able to waste the court's time by suing ourselves for our own stupidity. In other news, the attorney filing this suit should be disbarred for his or stupidity. I'm a fucking moron, who should be made responsible for this. I'm no lawyer, but my guess is that constitutes probably half of all lawsuits in this country. Look, I'm all for suing Walmart for pretty much anything. I hope this lady wins. But I just have to say, she makes me very disappointed in humanity. Pretty much every thermos travel mug I've looked at has a disclaimer specifically stating not to put fermented drinks in them or they could explode. I don't love Walmart, but I guess I'm confused why they're getting sued. Why didn't the person with the juice dump it out after they were done? I hope the losing of the lawsuit sets a precedent so that I don't get sued the next time I unexpected and violently explode in the woman's face. So is she re-screaming that the thermos allowed the juice to ferment or that it propelled into her face? Instead of simply burping, Step 1: be a dumbass and misuse a container. Step 2: blame everyone else for your dumbbassery. Step 3: profit while learning no lessons. So it looks like after this lawsuit, every newly made bottle will now have a warning label attached to it and cost more money. Thanks. One time I threw an expired sealed bottle of juice in the trash. A few days later, I got home to juice all over the ceiling and wall. I left a little smoothie in the bottom of a plastic bottle and threw it in my trash. A few nights later my trash can exploded. How? Has she any ground? I mean, the people designing the mug are not liable to prevent that. That's retarded. The mug's Braintree owner is suing Walmart. I know Braintree is a place, but, man, that sentence just works. Sounds like a skill issue. Reason 9,823,123 We should teach basic fermentation and food preservation in school. This is why we need science. Everyone has had a plump milk jug you knew not to open. Same damned concept. On first read I thought that the woman drank the fermented juice and it caused her to remove her top. What lawyer would take such a garbage case? Maybe she has money? 'Cause she's certainly short on brains. Lady should find a better attorney, and sue herself for felonious stupidity with intent to defraud. Getting smashed in the head while trying to drink mango juice? That's literally a Tiny Toons gag. That's why the soda bottle screw has gas escape rails, to avoid the cap getting shot in the face. Imagine it was boba tea, it would have been like that makeshift shotgun Kirk made on Star Trek. Breaking news: putting liquids that produce gas in a sealed container could explode. Who knew? I will be stealing the term being propelled into the face when describing an explosion. Lol. For the outcome, I keep hearing about more and more of the same exact things I could have sued for. Murica. Next on the labels: use only as a mug. Any other use, it's on you. We going to start suing car companies after purposely driving them into walls? Enormous force. Extreme velocity. Massive damage. Gimme a break. How was the hooch? I've had bad luck with mango but never tried this method. In fairness, the label did say it was ballistically resistant BP42. Maybe don't be a disgusting slob and that wouldn't happen. She wasn't arrested, but she definitely got a mugshot.